Hey guys, it's Topsy, and before I say anything else, happy holidays and Merry Christmas to anyone that's celebrating. I hope you guys have a great holiday season, and I wish you guys the best. For today's video, I kind of just wanted to have a quick conversation with you guys regarding my channel. Now, if you're a fan of what I do on this channel, then don't worry, I'm not about to tell you guys that I'm about to quit YouTube or take a break or anything like that. No, it's more of the opposite actually. For today's video, I kind of just wanted to let you guys know what exactly I have planned moving forward with this channel and some of the stuff that I want to potentially do moving forward into 2025. Honestly, I want to do a lot more with my channel. So let's go ahead and begin with what exactly I want to do moving forward with speed duels. Now, I do still plan on having speed duels be like a big part of my channel, just because it's one of my all-time favorite formats regarding Yu-Gi-Oh! I just have a ton of love for it, and if you've watched my channel for any amount of time, then you probably are already aware of this. I've already made custom sets for like Yu-Gi-Oh! Boxes, like speed duel boxes, and those have been incredibly fun to do, and you guys have seemed to like them. So in the future, I would have considered making more of those. However, those projects do take a very long time just because doing research on the arcs, trying to find cards that fit the format without breaking it, getting creative with some of the skills, all that stuff, it takes a long time creating the box, etc, etc. But nevertheless, I still do plan on making a few more of those boxes moving forward. I've considered making one for Waking the Dragons, however that would be a bit tough. Another arc that I considered doing was the virtual world with Noah. That one particularly sounds like the most fun to do just because it's the easiest in my opinion. But besides that, I've considered like the Grand Championship Finals, where we see characters like Siegfried make an appearance. Like, there's still so much we can do moving forward with speed duels, especially when it comes to speed duel boxes. But one question I had for you guys regarding this idea is, if I did consider making speed duel boxes for arcs that are, let's just say, harder to produce character decks for, how do you guys feel about using custom anime cards? I know that one of the appeals of these sets that I make is that people try to replicate them at home, but for arcs like Waking the Dragons, that becomes a lot more difficult when you start taking a look at characters like, oh my goodness, I forgot the name, like Valen with the armor cards. It seems like we're never getting those cards, and honestly, he's one of the integral characters, well, not integral, but an important character during that arc. So a character like him couldn't really get a deck in a speed duel set like this, or I forgot the name of the redhead. Those two characters in particular couldn't really get a deck in a speed duel set like that. So if I did consider doing Waking the Dragons, would you guys be cool if I ended up just doing custom anime cards? And if that's cool, then I could potentially open up the idea of doing more sets for like even GX with characters like Blair that never ended up getting a set in any of my custom speed duel boxes. So that's something to ponder. Sticking with the topic of my own custom Yu-Gi-Oh sets, something that I've considered doing also is creating my own custom ban list moving forward for speed duels. Just because I'm personally introducing a lot of new cards into the game, and power creep does very much exist. So being able to balance out the power of certain cards seems very much prudent in order to make a format that's pretty fun to play with. And honestly, one of the things that I would have loved to have seen happen at some point with my channel is being able to host little tournaments for people to try out my new boxes and have them play with the decks out of the box. That sounds like something incredibly fun, and I don't know, it would require like a lot of people to participate, but nevertheless, it is something that I want to eventually be able to implement into my channel. But besides custom speed duel sets, something else I would like to do eventually with my channel is start up a progression series for speed duels. Now, this is a project that I still have to work with, and essentially what this would include is me taking all the speed duel boxes and breaking them down into their own booster sets. The progression series is one of the biggest things that have ever happened in Yu-Gi-Oh, at least in Yu-Gi-Oh content, and honestly I would love to be able to replicate that for speed duels, and for the main reason that speed duels is such a great format, especially for players that are trying to dabble into it, just because the ceiling is fairly low to entry and it's just kind of easy to get into. So that sounds like something incredibly fun. It's gonna take a bit of time for me to set all that up, just because I have to make the custom sets and etc. But in the comment section below, let me know, would that be something you'd be interested in watching? I'm particularly keen on doing this, but of course, I would like to hear your guys' thoughts. Moving forward with the channel, I would also love the idea of collabing with a lot more speed duel content creators. For me particularly, I'm not fully aware of a lot of them, but if you guys have personal favorites that you would like to see me do content with, then consider letting me know in the comment section below so I can reach out to them, or in their comment section below, let them know that you'd like to see them collab with me. It's just an idea, but I love talking to new people and feel like we could have some really cool rapport and make some awesome content moving forward. The last thing I wanted to talk to you guys regarding speed duels is the idea of making a little series of mine where I go back and try and fix SpeedDuel sets that already exist. As an example, me going back to like fixing midterm paradox and changing all the character decks and potentially even swapping out characters for someone else. If I did this idea, I think I prefer the idea of just taking a box the way it was created and then making a few changes in each character deck to pretty much improve them and make them like a better product. I feel like that could be something really fun to do, especially given some of these decks that we ended up getting at Speed Duels feel like kind of like a miss when you take in consideration what cards they could have printed instead. And that seems like a lot easier of a project to undertake, and I don't know, it feels like it could be really fun to do. But that's pretty much what I had planned regarding speed duels. As opposed to other content that I would like to do on this channel, I've considered dabbling back into Master Duel. I remember earlier on in my channel, I did do a little series called like Master Duel from scratch, where I pretty much took a speed duel starter deck and tried climbing the ladder with that, but with doing nothing but opening up packs. That was a pretty fun experience to do until like the format got like really bad. But you know what? I've considered dabbling back into Master Duel and seeing, you know, dipping my toe to see if I could do something fun with that again. And I have distanced myself quite a bit from Master Duel, so I don't know whether or not you guys would like to see that on the channel, but it's something I have considered. Something else that I've considered doing for the channel is starting up a podcast with two of my closest friends, those being Big Bear 2000 and Push X to Start. They've been on the channel a few times now, and they are some of my closest friends, and I've considered the idea of just having a little podcast with me and them, pretty much just talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! Current events, or just topics regarding like Yu-Gi-Oh! In general. I feel like a podcast with the three of us could be super fun to do just because we all three of us offer a very different perspective regarding Yu-Gi-Oh! Push would be the most relaxed version of us, Bear would be the more competitive, and I would fall somewhere in the middle. And I feel like having a perspective from all three sides could be really interesting to see, especially since I tend to like to yap a lot, and all those guys do as well. So if you guys like long-term content like that, then that's something I would very much consider doing moving forward. In addition to the potential of me starting up a podcast with two of my closest buddies, I have considered the idea of starting streaming. I feel like that could potentially be incredibly fun to do, especially if I see a lot of the familiar faces that I've seen so far in my comment section joining my streaming chat. Some ideas that I've had with potential streams could be having me in chat try to figure out stuff like what to do with certain character decks, or etc, like working on projects together to kind of give you guys an insight as to what I do whenever I try to create these big projects of mine, like the custom speed duel sets and stuff like that. It is something that I've considered for a bit now. Streaming seems like incredibly like a lot of fun, and I don't know, it's just something that's been on my mind, and I'm just kind of curious to see whether or not you guys would be interested in seeing something like that. One last thing that I wanted to go ahead and mention to you guys is that I am going to be starting a second channel, just because I want to go ahead and try and do content for another one of my passions, those being Pokemon. In addition to being a big Yu-Gi-Oh fan, I'm also a big Pokemon nerd, and I've even gone ahead and made an avatar just for that. See, as you can see, I ended up even making like a full model for the for me with my Pokemon gear, and I've considered doing this for a bit now too. This was my original idea when I was starting up my channel, doing a Pokemon oriented channel, but I never ended up getting around to doing so just because of complications earlier on. But now that I have a more I don't want to say established channel, but I have a better understanding of what I'm doing with YouTube, I've considered doing this again. In particular, I would love to do stuff like challenge runs. A great example of that would be a channel like My Dry Bread. I believe that's what they were called. I haven't seen them in a bit now, but they would constantly do little challenges where they try to beat the game by some like silly little caveat where they can only catch like one type of Pokemon, they can only use certain moves, etc, etc. Stuff like that has always appealed to me, and it's found it really fun. And if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, I am planning on start opening up this channel very soon. So if I do get it open by the release of this video, I'll have it linked in the description of this video. All right, and with that, that pretty much just concludes all my jumbled amount of thoughts that I've had like boggled in my head for a bit now. As I said, guys, doing this has been so rewarding. It's been incredibly fun doing my channel. Some of the most fun I've had, and some of the most rewarding kind of stuff that I've done too, just because I love whenever I read comments of people telling me that they appreciate the work that I do, or how much fun they have with the custom sets that I made, stuff like that. That stuff, it feels amazing, and it makes making Yu-Gi-Oh content, or just content in general, like very much worth it. And I can't thank you guys enough for rocking with me. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much going to conclude today's video. I would like to wish you, all of you guys, a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to anyone else celebrating, and have a wonderful rest of your night. Bye, guys.